Over the years, the climate is changing. In today's programme, we talk about change that happens slowly. That's gradual change. And about that favourite British topic, the weather. That seems to be changing too.
You shouldn't lie out in the sun so much.
All right, that's enough. Go and have a...
Learn to express your point of view in a family argument. To a lifeboat man, the weather is most important. Meet the man in charge of the lifeboat at Dungeness. And Meter Man knows all about the weather too.
Hello, my dear. What a lovely day.
Everyday English.
We've been so lucky with the weather. It really is sweltering.
Summers have really been getting better in recent years. It says here, last month was the hottest July since records began. And it also had the lowest rainfall.
Good news for holiday makers. Not so good for gardeners.
Or for farmers, or for water companies.
Well, never mind. Let's hope the sun keeps on shining.
It's likely to rain at the weekend, it says here. And we desperately need the rain.
It says here that the wars of the future are likely to be fought over water more than anything else.
Yes, if the climate keeps on changing like this.
Well, it's not our fault. Anyway, I think after last winter we deserve a hot summer. Apparently it was the coldest winter on record, and we had the highest snowfall for 30 years. So right now, I'm going to enjoy the sunshine.
Oh no, not for long. Here comes trouble.
Now here comes a helping hand. First, there are a lot of superlative adjectives when you talk about the weather.
It says here, last month was the hottest July since records began.
Last month was the hottest July since records began.
And it also had the lowest rainfall.
And it also had the lowest rainfall.
Anyway, after last winter, I think we deserve a hot summer. Apparently it was the coldest winter on record.
Apparently, it was the coldest winter on record.
And we had the highest snowfall for 30 years.
And we had the highest snowfall for 30 years. Improve your fluency. When you think that something is probably going to happen, you can use likely to and an infinitive verb.
It's likely to rain at the weekend, it says here.
It's likely to rain at the weekend.
It says here the wars of the future are likely to be fought over water more than anything else.
The wars of the future are likely to be fought over water. You can improve your fluency a lot by using phrasal verbs. Here's another one.
Well, never mind. Let's hope the sun keeps on shining.
Let's hope the sun keeps on shining. To keep on doing something means to continue doing it.
Yes, if the climate keeps on changing like this.
If the climate keeps on changing like this, look out for more phrasal verbs and use them to increase your fluency.
So right now, I'm going to enjoy the sunshine.
Here comes trouble.
Hi, Mum. You look like a grilled tomato. And Dad looks like a boiled lobster.
Thanks very much. Do you want to know what you look like?
OK, what?
You look like a tribe of Zulu warriors.
I hope it will come off when you wash.
But seriously, you shouldn't lie out in the sun so much. All your generation think about when you're on holiday is getting a suntan. And you ought to wear a hat.
You think it looks healthy, but really it doesn't look good.
All right, that's enough. Don't forget we've been sunbathing for years and years, and if you're careful, there's really no harm in it.
You can't be serious. Everyone knows that the sun's rays are more harmful nowadays.
Haven't you heard about the hole in the ozone layer?
Of course I've heard about the hole in the ozone layer. All I'm saying is that a little sunbathing does no harm at all. And it's ridiculous to go around completely covered up.
Remember that skin needs to breathe. It does you good to feel the sun and the wind on your body.
All the same, it's not good to lie in the sun and cook for hours at a time.
And you shouldn't put that disgusting oil all over you. It stinks.
Oh, go away and play, will you? Go and have a swim.
A helping hand. A family argument. A heated discussion. Here are some useful phrases to express your point of view. First, but seriously.
But seriously, you shouldn't lie out in the sun so much. All your generation
Next,
think about when you're on
don't
holiday is
forget.
a suntan.
Don't forget, we've been sunbathing for years and years. And if you're careful,
You can
there's
say,
really no harm
you
in it.
can't be serious, and everyone knows.
You can't be serious. Everyone knows that the sun's rays are more harmful nowadays.
Haven't you heard
And
about the
Dad
hole in the
replies
ozone
with,
layer?
of course.
Of course I've heard about the hole in the ozone layer. All I'm saying is
And
that a little sunbathing
it's
does no harm at
ridiculous.
all. And it's ridiculous to go around completely covered up.
Their mother adds another point with, remember.
Remember that skin needs to breathe. It does you good to
But
feel the
their
sun and
daughter
wind on your
is
body.
determined to have the final word. All the same.
All the same, it's not good to lie in the sun and cook for hours at a time.
And
You can
shouldn't put that
use all
disgusting oil
to mean
all over
the
you.
only thing. Like this.
All your generation think about when you're on holiday is getting a suntan.
All your generation think about when you're on holiday is getting a suntan.
All I'm saying is that a little sunbathing does no harm at all.
All I'm saying is that a little sunbathing does no harm at all.
All the
But
same,
their
you
parents
shouldn't lie
are
out in the
tired of the
sun
argument
for
now.
hours at a time.
Oh, go away and play, will you? Go and have a swim.
But I think the younger generation won the argument. Specialised English. For many years, Londoners have lived in fear of floods from the Thames. Over the years, the riverbed has changed, the city has grown larger, and the risk of flood has increased. London's answer to this danger is the Thames Barrier at Woolwich. At times of danger, the Great Gates are raised to create a barrier from one side of the river to the other. At other times, the gates rest unseen on the riverbed.
Is this risk of flooding a new problem? Or has there always been a risk?
There has always been a risk of flooding here. Surge tides have caused flooding in London as far back as Roman times.
But the risk is increasing, I suppose.
The water level of the Thames is actually rising at the rate of 75 centimetres every 100 years.
Is that because of global warming? Is the water level rising because of global warming?
Global warming could be one of the causes, although we're still not sure.
Hasn't the Thames got narrower over the years?
Yes, indeed. In Roman times, the Thames at Westminster was 800 metres wide. Today, it only measures 250 metres. And of course, more and more houses are being built along the edges.
So when there is a flood, the water can't escape.
That's right. But there is another process at work here over a longer period of time. Did you know the southeast of England is gradually sinking? Ever since the last ice age, this part of England has been sinking, and northwest Scotland has been rising slowly.
Now, here's a helping hand. We can use the present continuous tense to talk about gradual change.
But the risk is increasing, I suppose.
The risk is increasing, I suppose.
The water level of the Thames is actually rising.
The water level of the Thames is actually rising. And how fast is it rising?
At the rate of 75 centimetres every 100 years.
At the rate of 75 centimetres every 100 years.
Is that because of global warming? Is the water level rising because of global warming?
Is the water level rising because of global warming?
Global warming could be one of the causes, although we're still not sure.
And we can also use the present perfect and the present perfect continuous tenses.
There has always been a risk of flooding here.
There has always been a risk of flooding here.
Surge tides have caused flooding in London as far back as Roman times.
Surge tides have caused flooding in London as far back as Roman times.
Ever since the last ice age, this part of England has been sinking.
Ever since the last ice age, this part of England has been sinking.
And northwest Scotland has been rising slowly.
And northwest Scotland has been rising slowly.
How long did it take to build the barrier?
It took just 8 years. Work started in 1974 and was completed in 1982.
Is there really a high risk of flooding in London?
Yes, indeed. The risk is considerable. Whenever we have what we call a surge tide, then there's a high risk of flooding.
How do you know? I mean, how can you tell if there's going to be one?
It's all based on computer prediction in our control room over there.
How much notice do you get?
Usually we get about 12 hours warning of a surge tide. Sometimes more, sometimes less. It depends.
And how long does it take to close the barrier?
It takes just 30 minutes to close the barrier. That's to say, we can close it in 30 minutes, if necessary.
How often do you have to close the barrier?
It varies. On average, about 4 times a year.
A helping hand. Many questions are formed with how. Listen to these again.
How do you know?
How do you know?
I mean, how can you tell if there's going to be one?
How can you tell?
How much notice do you get?
How much notice do you get?
How often do you have to close the barrier?
How often do you have to close the barrier? And if you want to ask about time, use how long and the verb take.
And how long does it take to close the barrier?
How long does it take to close the barrier?
It takes just 30 minutes to close the barrier.
It takes just 30 minutes to close the barrier.
How long did it take to build the barrier?
How long did it take to build the barrier?
It took just 8 years. Work started in 1974 and was completed in 1982.
It took just 8 years to build the barrier. A personal view. The weather plays an important part in the life of a lifeboatman. William Richardson is the coxswain. That means he is the person in charge of a lifeboat and of the people on board, the crew.
My job as a coxswain is to man the boat and keep a crew together. All the crew come from various walks of lives and do different jobs around the village. They're on call all the time. We have a system where there's 18 crew members, but only 6 of us go. So we always have enough to man the boat. It's usually the first 6 at the station go. So it does create a bit of competition and enables us to launch very quickly.
The lifeboat station at Dungeness stands on the tip of the Kent coast, looking across the bay to Dover and out across the English Channel to the coast of France. This is the busiest shipping lane in the world, with some of the most difficult and changeable weather. The Royal National Lifeboat Institution, the RNLI, is financed entirely by voluntary donations.
British Isles is very fortunate with its rescue service, as it's the only place in the world where it's absolutely free. From the RNLI doesn't charge anybody for rescues or assisting them. We have an exercise once a fortnight, which they get paid about £5 each for 2 hours work. So nobody does it for the money, they do it because they like doing it.
In this part of the exercise, they are setting up the breeches buoy. It is used to carry survivors from ship to lifeboat or from ship to land.
The breeches buoy is a system for getting people aboard the lifeboat or to land where it's not practical to go alongside in the boat itself. We could fire a rocket line to the casualty, who would then pull a rope across and attach a running block on the end of it. And then we can then ferry a casualty back to the lifeboat.
Another part of the exercise is dropping the anchor.
The lifeboat is fitted with a 51-kilo fisherman's anchor, which is designed to grip in all types of seabed. It's always a lifeboat man's nightmare to have an engine failure or break down on an onshore wind. So we exercise regularly with the anchor so they can get it over and make sure it goes clear very quickly.
Today, all this is just an exercise. But it is the weather that decides the time and place of a real emergency.
We collect all the weather information we can. We collect the shipping forecasts on Radio 4. We also look at the weather charts on the televisions and make up our own mind for what we're going to get. It's a lovely day today, isn't it? The wind's about force 2 to 3, which is 15 to 20 mile an hour. Good for bathers, providing they stay inshore. The wind is off the land, so you could get blown out to sea.
And that is what has happened to one unlucky swimmer. The Coast Guard at Dover puts out a call. The lifeboat navigator takes the call from Dover Coast Guard.
We have a swimmer missing. His last known position. If you're ready to copy, I will pass over.
The Dungeness lifeboat can go at speeds of up to 17 knots. That's about 31 kilometers per hour. It is fully equipped with radar, Decker navigator and global positioning system that works by navigation satellites. Below decks, there is equipment for giving first aid to survivors. A small but powerful inflatable craft comes to join the exercise from the nearby harbour of Rye.
We had a launch a little while ago for 2 dinghies that were launched from St Mary's Bay, which is about 10 miles to the north of us. At the time they launched and at the time they were last seen, it was high water time, and by the Coast Guard's predictions from the Admiralty charts and the almanacs, it should have driven the dinghies in a northerly direction. So the Coast Guard's asked us to launch to the north of the station, but with our local knowledge we knew that the tide and the weather and the prevailing wind was setting everything to the south, and we were fortunate enough to pick them up south of the station.
Today's rescue was in fact part of the exercise. When a real emergency occurs, other ships may go to the rescue. As well as saving lives, some of them are interested in the sums of money called salvage that they can receive from a ship's owners.
When a ship does get into trouble, it's normally a tug comes along and pulls it off, and they claim salvage off the owners of the ships or its insurers. The RNLI doesn't claim salvage. We're not in the business of claiming salvage, we're in the business of saving lives.
I love a day at the beach. But of course, everything depends upon the weather. Now, unfortunately, today it looks like rain, but as a meteorological expert, I can predict that the sun will begin to shine in 9 minutes' time. Fingers crossed. That's one of my little sayings, fingers crossed. Now, this beach looks a bit crowded for me. I know a quieter one. Hello, my dear. What a lovely day.
Well, it was until you came along. I have a feeling the sun's just gone behind a cloud.
Oh. Things and people do change, but a day at the seaside never changes. Now, I've got everything I need. My beach ball, my bucket and spade, my suntan lotion, my sun hat, my little mat, and of course, my rubber ring, given to me by a friend.
My castle's the best.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is. His castle's got the biggest tower, the most impressive bridge, and the widest moat.
You can't be serious. My castle's got 4 towers, and a special gateway and a bridge with seaweed.
All I'm saying is, my castle has got the biggest tower, and my castle is the best.
All you think about is size. Just because yours is the biggest, it doesn't mean it's the best.
But it is the best.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
Isn't.
Is! Is! You're so stupid.
Boys!
Really, children are so competitive these days. But still, if they want to take on an expert, I'll show them what an expert can do. This won't take long.
What's that chap up to? What a mess.
That'll teach them. Now, it's time for my little snooze. I think I'll take 40 winks in the sun. That's one of my little sayings, 40 winks. Where's my little mat?
Wow, now that is a big castle. How long did that take him? Hey, look what he's done. He's destroyed my castle.
The mean old so-and-so.
What a dirty spoil sport.
Let's get him. Where is he?
Over there. Look.
Shh, he's asleep. Let's get him. Come.
Boys! Time to go home! Hurry up, please! It's gonna rain!
Bye-bye, meter man.
Sleep well.
The kiss of life. Oh dear. Oh. It never rains, but it pours. That's one of our little sayings. Oh no! This is definitely the end!
Use your eyes. Use your eyes when you go to the seaside. Is the tide in? High tide? Or is the tide out? Low tide? If the weather is windy, you will want to hire a windbreaker. Buy a bucket and spade for the children. Use your eyes when you go on the water. There's a lot to see. Tugs, barges, commercial shipping, pleasure boats. There is plenty of information available about the weather. Listen to the radio.
Good evening. The highest temperature I've seen today has been 27 degrees at Heathrow Airport, but the weekend promises to be even hotter with most of the country dry.
There are regular weather forecasts to tell you if it is likely to rain or shine.
Here is the shipping forecast issued by the Met Office at 1700 on Friday, the 16th of August.
The shipping forecast, broadcast on long wave, provides accurate information on weather conditions all round the coasts of the British Isles.
Humber, Thames, Dover, White, Portland, Plymouth. Variable 3 or less. Fair, moderate with fog patches.
The barometer helps sailors to predict the weather. It measures the rise and fall of the atmospheric pressure. Watch the general weather forecast on television or read it in the newspaper. With the British weather, be prepared for anything. Flash floods can take you by surprise. Look out for warnings of fog or poor visibility in the wintertime, especially on motorway journeys. In January and February, there is a danger of frost and ice on the roads. A fall of snow can bring everything to a halt. But on a warm summer day, it's difficult to believe all those stories about the British weather. Maybe the weather really is changing. Do remember to complete the exercises in your student's book and to check up on your grammar and vocabulary. In next week's programme, we stay on dry land. Getting around town is the subject of our programme, and we hope you'll come with us.